Hello Tiger Lily family. This is a video tutorial on bangs. So I of course suggest that if you're at all able to wait until you can come into the salon and have them done professionally, that's obviously best. Also, please do not cut your bangs if you do not already have bangs. This is a very bad time for that sort of an experiment. But if you have bangs, they're too long and you can't get in and they're just driving you crazy and affecting your mental health and your ability to concentrate on work, then here is how to do it with the most minimal damage. So I have some scissors. I know you don't probably have shears at home like I do. Some people do have a hair cutting scissor. You can also use, if you have a nice sharp kitchen scissor that makes clean cuts and isn't sticky and doesn't just bend the hair, then that's fine. Also, thread snipping scissors from a sewing kit, sometimes smaller, sharper versions of kids' scissors or paper scissors work. Pretty much the smallest, sharpest pair of scissors that you have is probably what you're going to want, especially for bangs. Bangs being easier to see because they're right in the front and smaller amounts of hair. You can also get away with sharper cuticle scissors or other little nail accoutrements. Okay, so first we're going to determine where your bangs are. If you have a straightforward bang or a fringe that's kind of supposed to be cut like that, then you're gonna want to style it like that. And if you have any sort of side swept bang, you're gonna wanna make sure it's laying how you wanna wear it so that you can really see the parts that are too long. Our goal is going to be to alleviate that feeling of being shaggy and unmaintained, but not necessarily cut them as much as I would do if you came into the salon. We're just trying to do a stopgap until we can be together again. So I'm gonna go ahead and find your bang section. And if you have been wearing your bangs in a way that you don't normally wear them, now, even though your hair is dry, and even if it's not clean, is a great time to blow dry it just to soften anything that might have gotten creased or bent into it. And to blow dry bangs, this is true for all bangs all the time. You start from one side and blow dry towards the center, and then you switch hands and start from the other side and blow dry towards the center. And do that back and forth until they're fully dry. And what this should do is direct them forward, but allow them to lay in their natural growth pattern. If they have a cowlick or whatever, you don't necessarily want to completely override that because you don't want it to pop up later after you've cut it and be too short. Okay, so sort of reconfigured my bangs, and I always wear it on this side. You can see that I've had bangs before, but they're really grown out. So at this point, you would want to drape yourself with a garbage bag or a towel if you feel like it. It's also not a lot of hair, so you can also kind of just lean forward and make sure it doesn't fall on you and then sweep later. And we're gonna look at how a lot of people have like these pieces that separate and it just drives you absolutely crazy. And this stuff that just lays super flat or gets, if you have wave to your hair, sometimes this is where it like gets pokey or something. So those are the areas that you really want to concentrate on trimming a bit of. We can do those areas separately. We're not doing the whole thing all at once. So whether your bangs are straightforward or to the side, we're gonna start in the middle of whatever your part is. If your bangs come forward, the middle is your middle. If you have a side part, then that is your middle. So mine's just very slightly to the side. Make sure it's smooth. Grab my scissors. I am gonna start with kitchen scissors just in case that's what you're doing. I'll probably switch to my other shears just because they're easier for me to manage. So you're gonna wanna pinch that hair and pull it forward. And we're not looking for how long it is on your forehead or according to your face, because you're not cutting new bangs, right? We're just trimming what you've already got. You're just gonna slide those fingers down until you have about an inch, inch and a half of hair sticking out, regardless of the configuration that it's in. If you're following along with lines that I or another stylist did for you, then go ahead. If you have an angle or a point or anything, follow that. If it just kind of looks random, that's fine. We're gonna trim it. We're gonna trim a ½ inch off at a time. We're never gonna take more than that. Our first cut will be a ½ inch. If we need to take more, we'll probably go progressively less each time. So I'm gonna either look in the mirror, or if it's long enough to hold it out, you'll probably be just looking in the mirror, holding it out, and just snipping, not across, but at a diagonal, about a ½ inch off of that hair. We don't do this because that's going to create a harsh line that won't lay smoothly and move like you like. So there's a piece that we've trimmed. I'm gonna go a bit shorter because I feel confident doing that, and because I want to show you how to transition that down into the side. So I'm actually gonna take a little bit more off. You don't get to do this. Sorry. All right. So when I look at that, it looks like it would still be in my eyes, but I know my hair better and I know my cowlicks, and I know that this is actually a length. You can see that once it kind of moves to the side, and I do wear a side part, that's gonna be pretty much at my eyebrow or the corner of my eye. And I think that's short enough for me. And so now the next thing, I'm gonna switch to my smaller scissors. There's no reason why you can't keep with the bigger ones, but it's just easier for me to manipulate on my own. And go ahead and just take another little section of hair. If you have a clip, a headband, anything to keep the hair you're not working with out of the way, you're gonna wanna take just another section similar in size to the one we already worked with. Gonna let it lay naturally. Then we're going to squeeze that hair together, pinch it in our fingers, slide down until you have about a ½ inch to an inch of your guide, which is what you just cut, sticking out there. Now, put down the scissors for a minute and look. What we want is we want an angle. We do not want to go straight across. Then you're gonna cut into the side of your hair. It'll make you very sad. What we want to do with this hair is angle it down, and I encourage you not to take more than ½ inch off that longest part still. As a matter of fact, it might be just easier to take that ½ inch first and then just connect those lines. So I see there's a few extras, just chippy chop. All right, so then there's our guide. It's up there. Here's what I just cut. Don't worry if it's all not laying perfect. We're trying to get an angle kind of like that. I would suggest you hold this hair nice and tight and just take your time and just, now if you had shears and experience, you can absolutely follow down, but for our purposes today, what we just want to do is chip in just a little bit at a time until that's a pretty nice angle. Now, this hair has lost some weight, and when I rewash it and either style it or allow it to air dry, it's going to bounce up and have more life and less hang, and that may be enough. I encourage you to stop at the ½ inch mark, wait till the next time you've washed your hair, and then see if you'd like to go in and take more. I would give it a day between. You're not in a rush, right? What are you doing with your life? We're all hanging out at home. All right, so And I'm gonna take the rest of this hair down on that side. And all of this doesn't need to be cut. It really depends on how you feel about your facial framing. If you're feeling like that hair needs a trim anyway, go ahead and repeat what we just did before. Kind of pull it out to the front, comb it smooth. Taking 1/2 inch off the longest part to make a guide. And then fan that out a little and try to connect our line that we already cut. So my hair has a little bend here, so I have to kind of just keep that in mind. I'm just gonna try to nibble 1/2 inch off of the ends here. You might be surprised by what a difference that little amount can make. You may find it is easier to do one side than the other. Just be patient, take your time. So this is the side that I part towards, so there's more hair there. I don't need to really do as much on this side, but I am going to pull a guide over from that side so that it all blends together, and repeat on the other side. Here's my shorter pieces. There they are, right there. And now I know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at that hair and how it's moving. I know that you won't as much and that this might be scary. That's why what's most important is just to go slow and not to overdo it. Don't get carried away, and definitely don't get carried away trying to make everything perfect, because the pursuit of perfection will take you too far down a road that will take a while to grow out. So hair doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to have straight lines. It just needs to have a little bit of the dead weight taken off and a little bit more shape. You can see this section of my hair is already lifting up and flowing a little bit. If that's all that I do, I think once I wash and dry, I would notice that change, and I hope you do too. If you have any specific questions about your circumstances, your hair, and what you should do and what you think I can help you accomplish, then definitely send me an email. And I hope to talk to everybody soon. Be safe, don't combine wine and scissors, and we'll see you on the other side.